Series as we move on up the weight categories. The last one of the night will be the heavyweight bout. Before we get there, we will have the 64 kilo class. Here comes Yasnier Toledo Lopez of Cuba, world ranking number 4, 24 years old. And the only man this season that he has lost to is the opponent he is up against tonight, Gaybatulla GADZHIALIYEV of Azerbaijan. This is revenge here for Toledo. Or will it be?
Göstererek ki bura Bakı'dır. Burada ancak galebe olur. Ringe davet olur. Kırmızı künce. Yığma kavadamız üzvü. Kifayet kadar tecrübeli boksçumuz. Alkışlarınızla. Gaybatulla.
He has a glittering career in AIBA World Championships in Baku, second place the Cuban. Second in the recent World Championships in Almaty, third at the Olympics. None of that means anything at the moment. Gaybatulla GADZHIALIYEV makes his way out. We look at the WSB season so far for Toledo. 5 wins, 1 loss, and his only loss comes to this tough 22-year-old Azeri. Week 9, he lost on points. No, he was finishing with a brilliant final flurry. The judges gave him the last round by a comfortable margin in their head-to-head, as GADZHIALIYEV had punched himself out. He was exhausted, but he got the victory over the Cuban. There's a big height and range difference. The Cuban being taller and rangier. Mr. Gallagher of Ireland overseeing this bout as our referee. He is a really classy act, Yasnier Toledo Lopez of Cuba. But his nemesis is in the other end of this ring, and two quite different styles.
What an exciting bout in progress. Probably two of my favourite performers in the WSB. And Gaybatulla GADZHIALIYEV, well, nothing short of being a local hero here in Baku for the Azerbaijan Baku fires. A really exciting fighter that encompasses all of what the WSB is about. Southpaw opponent, Yasnier Toledo. Well, of course, Toledo has only lost once in his WSB career. Short though that has been, this season is the first season for the Cubans, and that was to this man. But as Colin said earlier, a height and range advantage that Toledo has over GADZHIALIYEV. And both fighters very respectful of each other. I have to say that Toledo, in the back of his mind, will be seeking revenge and needs to put GADZHIALIYEV away, but GADZHIALIYEV, well, knows this is a man on a mission. So tense searching in this round 1.
Well, there's only 1 point in it in their clash in week 5, and in many ways Yasnier Toledo Lopez was roped into a big punch-up in the centre of the ring for probably 50% of the fight, and he's now probably watched back and thought, right, hit and run, use my reach advantage, and then get out of there and don't get caught up in a brawl with this man.
Well, the Azeris in the regular season drawn in the Group B division, known as the Group of Death, and it certainly was a real crucible of pain and glory for all the teams. Russian boxing team, Astana Arlans from Kazakhstan, of course the boys from Baku here, the Azeri fighters. Cubans, well, their group was lively, but I think the big shock to the system was when they came across the Azeri team, who were really used to getting down and dirty. Well, this has started to liven up now. We've seen some good connections. Half a minute left in round one, and well, some good class A1 boxing.
One thing you have to say about GADZHIALIYEV is he looks a little bit flat-footed compared to the Cuban, but when he unleashes a punch, he's so fast. I'm just watching it in double speed, and that's where Toledo has to watch out.
GADZHIALIYEV manages to get leverage in those shots. Just look at that. Blisteringly fast, but the position's so good. If it lands, well, it's got to hurt. Just in the slow-mo there, you can see that right hand making a connection.
That was early on in the round, wasn't it, when he bullied him to the ground or just tried to show a little domination. Toledo definitely the slicker of the two there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. As the round wore on, Toledo gained confidence. Interesting, though, split decision from the judges.
Yeah, there we go. 10-9, two of the judges to GADZHIALIYEV, as Toledo got the nod from just one of our ringside judges. So, makes it a little more interesting. Obviously, the judges are appreciating the fact that the Azeri is marching forward, ring dominance as they call it, and well, he did get through with a few good hits, especially that overhand right that he possesses at incredible high speed, as GADZHIALIYEV in the black and fiery shorts comes out for round number 2 against this Cuban, Toledo Lopez, in the white and gold.
Starting to get mobile now. Toledo. GADZHIALIYEV staying with him. And it's interesting because, as you said, GADZHIALIYEV very stationary as a fighter, very flat-footed, seemingly, but he moves with incredible speed, so he doesn't look lumpen at all in any of his work. And Toledo still very respectful. And he's rocked back there by a right hand from GADZHIALIYEV, and Toledo knows just how dangerous GADZHIALIYEV can be, and great positioning as well. He moves forward on the front foot and just positions himself off centre to land those left-right shots.
Rock solid defence as well from the Azeri, taking himself in very tight.
It's a tough call for Toledo. He's got to cat and mouse this. He's got to try and draw GADZHIALIYEV in, but doesn't want to leave the gate open too wide. I have to say, that's the second time I've seen GADZHIALIYEV get tagged by that right hand of Toledo. That lead right hand just turns into a hook, and it's tagged GADZHIALIYEV on the sweet spot. So that's knockout territory.
Yeah, he's quite often leading with a hook, isn't he, GADZHIALIYEV, and it just leaves a shot right up the middle open.
Good uppercuts, good work here from Toledo.
He hasn't thrown many jabs at all, has he, GADZHIALIYEV? Hook after hook, trying to get around the defence of Toledo.
Blisteringly fast in the hands of GADZHIALIYEV. And it's all about range. Millimetrically perfect, the Cubans, when they evade a shot. But you just have to be off that slight nuance. And against a fighter like GADZHIALIYEV, well, you're going to get tagged. Can GADZHIALIYEV rock the world of Toledo?
Another good uppercut there from the Cuban, and again he's getting through that guard.
second clapper. Didn't see anything decisive before the bell.
Well, that's an interesting round, that. Again, it could really go either way, though for me, Toledo seemed to throw the greater amount of quality blows. Did get tagged a good couple of times there by the Azeri, who always is marching forward.
It was a brilliantly strong round for Toledo, but GADZHIALIYEV can hurt, and I think in their previous encounter, GADZHIALIYEV came from behind.
Well, once again, two judges see it 10-9 in favor of GADZHIALIYEV. So Yasnier Toledo right now has got two judges, 20-18 against him. Judge B, though, sees it the other way around. So split at the moment. Talibov, the coach, is giving him some words of encouragement. Up at the moment on two judges' scorecards, so he's definitely doing something right. The difference between this man, the Azeri, in this fight and the last, of course, is he's actually throwing punches that are hitting, and he seems multi-dimensional when he marches forward. All of the Azeris have marched forward. It's been the same story with every bout, hasn't it? But he's particularly dangerous.
Absolutely. I mean, they're very gritty, determined fighters. The style is very forward-based, off the front lead foot. But the Cubans, well, you know, the antithesis of that, because they like to move around, show a bit of class, dance around the ring. And GADZHIALIYEV, though, is another level, because blisteringly fast hands, and he can hurt. And what's causing Toledo problems here is the fact that he's getting rocked by the punches of GADZHIALIYEV. And again, you can see that in the close encounters, yet the shots are coming from Toledo, but he's being punished for it.
Cracking uppercut there by the Cuban. And they've obviously studied the tapes from the last encounter. We've seen a large amount of uppercuts coming from the Cubans as these Azeris come in tight, bundled up, marching forward.
That's the pathway that's open to come up through the guard like that. But just look at the speed of Toledo. And really, when you think of GADZHIALIYEV as a fast hands, fast puncher, well, Toledo probably take that to another level. We just saw how quickly he evaded the shots there. And this is now very technical. These two boxers toe-to-toe, but not in a slugfest. This is very technical boxing. They back off, give themselves a bit of space, and it's all just about the slightest flex in a pec, just the slightest nuance to give the other person the idea that they're going to throw a shot and then try and counter or evade.
It's just fascinating to watch, isn't it? The chess match unfolding here. Both men come in, trying different things in the center. Perhaps Toledo just being a little bit trickier here, and they got through with a couple of good uppercuts.
So much at stake for Toledo, notwithstanding, of course, the team win that's necessary for Cuba to win their inaugural appearance here at the WSB, but also he's the only Cuban really to lose at the WSB, so the pressure is just huge for Toledo. I don't know if he's coping very well here with GADZHIALIYEV. GADZHIALIYEV is boxing his own match, doing what he does. It's Toledo that's had to make the adjustments, and it's all going to be about work rate.
Tell you what, there's a really good show of friendship between the two here when Toledo's head went in too low. The Azeri just put his hand on it, didn't get any cheeky punches to the back of his head. They touched gloves, and again at the end there, it's a nice show of sportsmanship between two men that are really slugging it out.
What we're witnessing is the highest level of athleticism here, and both boxers absolutely worthy of being in the WSB, extolling all the virtues.
Well, turnaround time for Yasnier Toledo. All three judges seeing it his way, 10-9 across the board. So he's 3 points up on Judge B's scorecard and 1 point down on the other two. But It only has to take 1 point for each judge to make the difference. You can have a clean sweep on another judge's card. It's still just the same. Each judge only counts once. So Gaybatulla, GADZHIALIYEV in the black shorts against Yasnier, Toledo. Out they come. Once again, round number 4.
So close, the scoring, everything hinging. So another great 3 minutes in prospect as these two, who I would venture have become the giants of this C1 category. This is probably the most expected bout from the fans' point of view. GADZHIALIYEV, one of the crowd pleasers and firm favourites for the Baku Fires. And of course, taking the win over Toledo. Well, that's a feather in his cap, but well, we're going to get down and dirty now, because round 4 is going to be a decider to see if Toledo can pull this back.
It's funny, I think Toledo's being pulled into the game of the Azeri, or maybe he's doing this on purpose, because he came in toe-to-toe, head-to-head in the last round, and he won it with a clean sweep on the judges' scorecard. So perhaps he's just messing with the head of the Azeri a little bit. He's not doing his usual hit and run, dance around the ring. Remember him in the Almaty World Championships, his foot movement as he danced around was just magnificent.
Well, I think there's an element of pride here, and that element is he wants to try and beat GADZHIALIYEV, but also beat him at his own game, not to be seen as being a better boxer or with better footwork, or, you know, using the ring in that way. He wants to try and fight GADZHIALIYEV in GADZHIALIYEV's front yard.
Yeah, that was week 5. I mean, we're talking 3-4 months ago. It's probably been burning a hole in his head, the fact that he was beaten by this man, and he doesn't want to just come out here and, yeah, exactly as you said, dance around and beat him as a boxer. He wants to go out there and really club him the way he was clubbed in the first match.
Just over half a minute left in round 4, and again a very close round, very tough for the judges to score, but Toledo going toe-to-toe and fighting GADZHIALIYEV's fight.
He's obviously been practicing this in the gym back in Cuba, practicing exactly the same style that GADZHIALIYEV has.
It's a huge change of positions for the Cuban, and he's out to prove a point.
So, end of round 4, back to the corner there. Again, maybe just Toledo by a little bit, through with a few good quality punches.
I think the better work came from the Cuban, and some of that danger has disappeared from the work of GADZHIALIYEV. The first rounds, 1 and 2, those big shots whistling past Toledo. Well, he tags in there, as we can see in the slow-mo, but that danger seems to have mitigated a little bit. And I'd say instead of being at DEFCON 3, we're kind of at DEFCON 1.
GADZHIALIYEV getting Judge B this time. Goodness, it's the other way around. Judge B seemed to be favouring Toledo earlier on. Now he's going in favour of the Baku firefighter. So 38-38 on 2 of the judges' scorecards. And that's reeled into 2 points on Judge B's scorecard. So assuming it's a 10-9 round, Judge B is pretty much gone with Toledo already, assuming this is a close one. So 2 of the judges' scorecards absolutely even. So this could go either way right now, as Toledo, the Cuban, in the white and gold shorts, comes out for round number 5 with a slight advantage over this Azeri.
Well, this is the 5th and final in arguably the final, because this is the decider. This is going to put teams ahead in a really, really comfortable position, and this is the WSB Championship final. It's so critical. Just look at these 2 warriors. It's interesting that Toledo has adopted the style of GADZHIALIYEV and is determined to beat him on his own terms, but GADZHIALIYEV almost sort of worn himself out or is shocked by what Toledo's doing, because GADZHIALIYEV not doing what he does well here.
The venom has gone from his punches, that's for sure. Just 2 minutes to go, and Toledo looking, well, as he did in the first bout as well, the fitter of the two. He finished with a real flurry, but it wasn't quite enough. Too little, too late. Not this time, though. Things are looking really good here for Yasnier Toledo Lopez.
Silver medalist in Almaty. The Azeri crowd obviously cheering their man GADZHIALIYEV. I mean, he is a firm favourite across the audience, but some teammates there really giving it up for GADZHIALIYEV, and he's going to need it, because this looks a very strong round again in favour of Toledo. GADZHIALIYEV being outboxed.
I think tank is on empty now here. Toledo realises it as well. He's still dancing around, throwing some great shots here. Gets him with a brilliant right hand. A minute to go, and the Cuban is in the driving seat at the moment.
Good work from Toledo, and it's punishing, grueling work. GADZHIALIYEV doesn't really have an answer for this. So much at stake, and so much resting on this.
Come on then, says Toledo. 30 seconds to go, bring it. He's willing to trade toe-to-toe, just as GADZHIALIYEV did in the first bout they had in week 5. But this time Toledo was ready for him. It's been a brilliant show of boxing from Toledo to adapt his style to this man.
Right up to the wire. GADZHIALIYEV brings it, but again, equally, Toledo ready there to answer the call. It's class, and it's a notch above what the Azeri can bring here tonight.
Well, that has been one of the most enjoyable WSB bouts of the entire season. Well, we have to wait for the judges' scorecards, as it was all evens on Judge A and Judge C's scorecard coming into this final round. But you just feel Toledo did enough there to pip it. He got through with a number of blows. He looked fresh. He was still moving well.
Absolutely. It was a great performance from Toledo. And he spent the last the 2 rounds, the third and the fourth, certainly toe-to-toe with GADZHIALIYEV, which is no mean feat. GADZHIALIYEV was dangerous right from the get-go. Really had some wicked hooks, throwing them, whistling past the head of Toledo, but Toledo got in the driver's seat and took control. And this is going to be a whisker. It's going to be the saddest way to lose a championship bout, but in a fight like this, I don't think there are any losers. It was a great performance from both men.
47-48. Judge 48-47. The winner is...
Oh my goodness.
Gaybatulla
Is gone the way of the Azerbaijani. Well, well, well. I can hear cheers. I can hear a few boos as well. At 48-47. Goodness. Judge B seeing it the way of Toledo. A and C giving it to the Baku Fire. Well, it's 2-2 on the night then. I am a little surprised there. I must admit, I thought Toledo had done enough. But McBassey and Mr. Gorney seeing it the way of the Baku Fire, 48-47.
Well, I have to say that Yasnier Toledo was hugely gracious in defeat and congratulated his opponent. It was always going to be a close call, but those are the standings.
So we have just